My name is Kala, Arvind Kala. I am a kind of authority on the white man, on his behavior and his attitude to life, his demeanor, his body language. And I'll contrast that with that of Indians. I'm talking of people age 60 and above, maybe 65 and above. Now, I'm an authority on the white man's demeanor, body language, behavior for a very simple reason. I've been in Goa right now for 2 months, and I live in a street that is inhabited almost entirely by whites, mainly white men. And I've been coming to this street for the last 18 years, and I'm extremely well connected here because the barber knows me, the waiters know me, the grocers knows me, everybody knows me, the newspaper fellow, etc. So I've been watching these white men for a long time because we dine at the same restaurants. In fact, I only go to restaurants which are inhabited entirely by white men. I avoid Indians. I don't even say good morning to them for a very simple reason. The white man is very, very polite and very cultured. And all these white men I'm talking of, almost all of them are from Britain. And they come from the what you call working class. They're carpenters, they're electricians, they're doormen, they're van drivers, they're garbage collectors, and their languages interspersed with thank you, may I, after you please, how are you today. And in India, people, they're generally grumpy. I mean, I'm talking even of a fancy mall in Delhi. If I smile at a woman, she thinks I'm trying to be lecherous or trying to patawa her, as they say. Here, everybody, and if I smile at a man in Delhi, he'll get startled and maybe he'll wonder whether I'm gay. So they're grumpy people in India. And one thing with these whites is a hell of a lot of them are alone, or maximum one person. Now they're alone because there are 111,000 divorces in the United Kingdom last year. So naturally, those become one person households. So and there are around 8 million in India. There are no divorces because most families have one house. So whichever partner initiates walks out of home becomes homeless. So here, grumpy couples have to live together because they have no other alternative. But they're very nice, and they also explaining how these white men travel in ones or twos maximum is because the 8 million single person households in UK, and another 2 million two-person households. Here in Indian homes, your father is there, your son is there, his wife is there. I mean, Indian homes, many of them crowded homes, they're not homes, they're like a zoo, yeah, absolute zoo. So these guys are very, and their body language. I mean, one thing with these working class, they just wear anything. These men, anything. But they're very adventurous. They'll wear a long dangling earring, and they're not gay. Many of them will. I asked a guy, who must have been 85, why he wears that. He says, I dress young, and like that. And even the women, of course, deck up. They're completely out of shape. The fatter you are, that's a sign of the working class. When you don't look after your body all over the world. They're very. So I'm quite an authority on these guys. There are many other things are, they don't travel in a brood. In India, everybody, their daughter has to be there, the son has to be there, their children will have to be there, and the daughter-in-law looks grumpy moving around with her in-laws, and etc. And the son looks the thing, and they just miserable. Yeah, Indians, of a certain age and above, they're miserable folks. And I like coming to the street, and I go only to restaurant. There's some restaurants which are almost which get only whites, hardly any Indians, and I go there. Because I refuse to say even good morning to Indians. I say good morning to whites because they're very nice people. Yeah, there's working class people, doormen and drivers and garbage collectors, and they're better behaved than the aristocrats of Delhi. Yeah, who the chaps who are rich in Delhi. First of all, thrust one shoulder out like that. That who like that, and these fellows, they're very nice, and most of them 75, 80, all of them are on two-wheelers like I am too. They just fitter in whichever way. And their bodies are all haywire. Another thing I notice, the Indians that pass by, from I do people watching it, they're kind of runts, yeah. These guys are the Indians I see in Goa. Somehow it attracts the midgets of India, yeah. They're all runts, small fellows, their belly is poking out, and then they in front, and their bums poke out from behind. So that they look pretty miserable, yeah. These fat whites, at least they're tall, etc., etc. And another thing is their body language is there's a lot of air kissing. You greet a woman, you air kiss her, you touch your cheek with her cheek. She comes and she touches her cheek with your cheek, etc., etc. And a lot of them, they just, and they're sort of not class conscious at all. They'll hug a waiter, yeah. They'll hug a waiter. And in India, it would be unheard of for a diner to hug a waiter, yeah. It just wouldn't be done. Perhaps because of our deep caste bias or whatever. Well, these are some observations I wanted to make, and I made them. So I think I'll bid you farewell. Please forward this to everybody. These are pretty good observations, yeah. Huh? So I'll get going. Huh? See you later, alligator.